right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God. Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushua, Ba'Hashem Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. Getting a little chilly out here, man, but it's rocky. Let's look in the news. Let's start there. Since Trump reveals Macron texts and pre-Davos blitz on major U.S. allies. Let's see what this is talking about real quick. Bloomberg, U.S. President Duck unleashed fresh social media attacks against European allies and threatened crushing tariffs on French wine, underlining the stakes for high-level meetings planned in Davos this week. I think Davos has to do with the World Economic Forum or some shit like that. Let me see what Davos is talking about. What is Davos? What is Davos? Davos refers to both a town in the Swiss Alps and the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum held there, which brings together global leaders from politics, business, and civil society to discuss urgent world issues like climate change, technology, and economic disparity. So I think he released all his some private text messaging or something like that ahead of this Davos meeting in the Alps, you know. So that's what Davos is. It says in a flurry of comments and posts early Tuesday morning, Duck took a swipe at President Macron for rejecting an invitation to back his latest peace initiative and suggested the U.S. would impose duties on France's politically sensitive agriculture sector. So it sounds like a trade war is imbuing. Okay, which is good. This is all good news, you know. That these Europeans and these you know, the beasts and the whores not in agreement with each other. So that's good in my head. So that means we're getting closer to that time. At least it started. The Lord already kicked it off. Okay. So, anything else? Nobody wants him because he's going to be out of office very soon, Duck told reporters Monday local time after being informed Macron would decline his invitation. I'll put a 200% tariff on his wines and champagnes, and he'll join. The president also published a text message from his French counterpart in which Macron invited Duck to have dinner in Paris on Thursday. Macron also proposed meetings with Ukraine, Syria, Denmark, and Russia to address a range of issues, including Duck's demand to take Greenland from Denmark, citing security issues. So you're just proving that he was right. It is a security issue. Now he said he wants to talk to Russia. That's what it just said. He going to Russia to talk about security issues. French President Macron going to Russia to talk about security issues, man. That's your ally. That's your American ally. I'm getting ice grills this morning, man. Whatever. Dude's driving by, maybe he don't know what's going on. Maybe he should get out of his car and find out. So that's your allies fighting up against each other, man. So how much longer you think this place got? I don't think Macron ever was with you. As long as I've been watching the news this little bit of time, he don't seem like he really had your best interest, your interest in mind when it came to his politics. His best interest is aligned with those Russians. I was listening to Lavrov. He's the one who speaks on behalf of Russian. He speaks. I forgot. Who's Lavrov? Who is Lavrov for Russia? Sergio Vyacheslav Lavrov is a Russian diplomat who has served as Minister of Foreign Affairs since 2004. This man right here. He was saying this morning, he's like, I don't want to get involved with anything that America and the U.S. got going on when it pertains to Greenland. But he said, I got a close eye on that. That's a major world issue, he said. So if he got a close eye on that, I got a close eye on it too. That's what I want to be. I want to know the update on what's going on right there. Hopefully that whore starts to get a little more animated with going over there. I think he's gonna go over there, and it's gonna be more white on white crime. Denmark just sent more troops over there, right? Let me see if I'm lying or not. Did Denmark send more troops to Greenland? Yes, Denmark recently sent a significant number of extra combat troops to Greenland, participating in NATO-coordinated exercises like Arctic Endurance, quote unquote, amid escalating tensions with the U.S. over President Duck's desire to control the self-governing territory, with soldiers arriving in Kangerlussuaq and Nuuk around January 19 and January 20, 2026 to bolster defense and signal strength. And I think Lavrov also said that Denmark is not like a real country or something like that. He's basically saying America has rights to take over Denmark. You know, quote unquote, if that matters to you. I like hearing these world leaders talk about these issues because it pertains to prophecy. It pertains to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who just get up and be slaves every goddamn day, man. Wake the fuck up, all right? Wake the fuck up, man. People are getting up today. They're loading up their guns. They're training. They're coming up with plans. And what the hell are you doing? Nothing. You ain't doing nothing. How are you preparing yourself for this? You don't know nothing. Let me grab this in the book of Baruch. Let's start right there. In the book of Baruch, in your Apocrypha, chapter 3. We'll start there today. This is a good chapter to remind yourself where the hell you're at. It's the book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 1. O Lord Almighty, God of Israel, the soul in anguish, the troubled spirit, crieth unto thee. So we're crying unto the Lord to save us from the times that are coming to pass. You know, world wars, famines, plagues, that's prophesied to happen in the Bible, young man. You might want to get to know your Lord. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 2. Hear, O Lord, and have mercy, for thou art merciful, and have pity upon us, because we have sinned before thee. So we sin. What is sin? Sin is the transgression of the law. We transgress the laws. That's why we got fucking heathen ruling over us. A pedophile, child molesting heathen. Blood drinking, cannibal heathen ruling over us. And I'm talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, if you didn't know what I'm talking about. Baruch chapter 3, verse 3. For thou endurest forever, and we perish utterly. That's right, we perish utterly. We getting destroyed. Okay? We don't want to perish anymore, man. We want to get saved, man. We want to get our new bodies. We want to be righteous. We want to keep the laws perfectly, so we'll never end up in this predicament ever again. We understand the wages of sin. Okay? Baruch chapter 3, verse 4. O Lord Almighty, thou God of Israel, hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites and of their children, which have sinned before thee, and not hearkened unto the voice of thee, their God, for the which cause these plagues cleave unto us. So the plagues cleave unto us. The plagues that he told you was going to cleave unto us when we broke these laws. You know, I was watching Carlson Tucker talk about he don't know who the Israelites are. Nigga, you don't have a cell phone? Look all over on YouTube. They're all on YouTube crying out to the Lord to destroy this place. You don't hear their cries? You ain't piping unto the beat. Now, I think what's his name, Carlson Tucker might be Israel. You know, because not all Israel's gonna look like me. You know, so-called black men. There's some from these other nations, they're gonna be following the customs of these other nations. And I think he's like he got that Doubting Thomas type of spirit. He met the prophets, he walked into them. I saw that video, he ran across the prophets. Pastor Tahar told him about Israel, man. Oh, he's the last person. He's the last person to say he don't know who Israel is, man. You literally ran into the prophet. I'm sure, I can't remember everything he said in the video, but he was basically talking about Israel. And if he's not an Israelite, he better hope he's an Israelite or he's going into slavery. Okay? And that's pretty much for everybody here in America. You're gonna wish you were Israel in that time. Baruch chapter 3, verse 5. Remember not the iniquities of our forefathers, but think upon thy power and thy name now at this time. For thou art the Lord our God, and thee, O Lord, will we praise. And that's who we're praying. We're praying to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. That's the Most High God, whose name is He is. He exists. Ba'Hashem means in the name of Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. That's who we praising this morning. Okay? I'm not up here praising the so-called white man. He got enough praise from everybody else. But that praise is being taken away from him. Scriptures talk about a shameful spewing on his glory. So that's what's happening to him, man. He's having a shameful spewing on his glory because it's a shameful thing what he did to the nation of Israel. Nothing proud to be. You did that to God's children. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'd be ashamed. Oh shit, I did that to the Most High God's children. Oh man, I got something coming to me. I got something coming to me, man. I'm getting a lot of ice grills today, but that's all good, man. Hey, except for you, man. Man, you get a blessing today, my brother. You get a blessing. I said that and the dude drove by and said hi. Hey, that's the spirit. A lot of you black niggas out there got, you know, they got nigga the ice grill faces today, man. It's all good. Okay, I came up here to make my body a living sacrifice. You better hope the Lord don't put your ass to death today. Scared of you niggas and you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Matter of fact, let me jump over here. Let me finish this. Baruch chapter 3, verse 6. For thou art the Lord our God, and thee, O Lord, will we praise. And for this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts, to the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity. For we have called to mind all the iniquity of our forefathers that sinned before thee. So we're calling upon thy name in our captivity, because we're still in captivity today under the so-called white cracker race, the Edomites, devils. Okay? Who kidnapped you. They brought you over here, man, to serve slavery. That's what you're here for. You bunch of slaves. And ain't nothing wrong with it, man. He going into slavery too. All right? So we got to suffer. We got to endure it. But he going to have his time getting whipped with bullwhips and all of that. He going to get it all. Get his back whipped and ripped. Yeah, that's going to happen to him. It tells you that in the Bible. It said we're going to trade him like with the Sabians. As a matter of fact, let me jump over there real quick. I don't want someone to think I'm lying on the comment board. This dude is evil. I cannot bear it. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3. I start at 7. Behold, I'll raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. So where were we sold? We were sold here in America. In other places too, but We'll use America, for example, the transatlantic slave trade, right? Joel 3, verse 8, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. So your ass is getting the same thing. Transatlantic slave trade for the so-called white man. Isn't that great? I think that sounds beautiful. See, that's righteous. If you take something from somebody and then they take it from you, hey, that's the same. Hey, that's called recompense. Okay? But you got to pay double. So that's a prophecy about a future slave trade for the heathen. That didn't come to pass yet. Let's look at this word Sabians, because I think it's the nation, in Yemen. Yemen's going through the worst famine right now. Look at this word Sabians. Sabians, drunkard, or he who is coming, the people of the nation of Shebna. It's not telling me. I think it's Yemen though. Are the Sabians in the Bible the modern day Yemenis? Or Yemen? Yes, the biblical Sabian Sheba are strongly associated with the ancient kingdom of Saba in modern-day Yemen, a wealthy trading state famous for spices, incense, and gold, with archaeological evidence pointing to its capital, Marib, in Yemen. While some traditions link them to Ethiopia across the Red Sea, most historical and archaeological consensus places the primary Sabian civilization in South Arabia with its heartland in Yemen. So you're gonna be doing trade, we're gonna be selling you to Arabs. You're gonna be like, who got sold to Arabs? I think Joseph got sold to the Arabs. Ishmaelite. So that's what's going to happen to Esau. Anyways, let me finish this in the book of Baruch, chapter 3, and verse number 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. So he scattered us. Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. Okay? For a reproach and a curse. We're not being called Israel, we're being reproached. No one likes the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's why these heathens be talking mad shit. They use the same talking points as the so-called white man. Look at Myron Gaines, for example. I think he's a J. That motherfucker is funny as hell. He's a funny. I like Myron Gaines, but he could be a heathen though. He could be. You know, if you don't got this truth, you liken unto a heathen man anyway. But he could be a Jake though. He kind of reminds me of a Jake. But look at him, man. He got the same talking points as the so-called white man. If you take a people, kidnap them, bring them over here, destroy them, rip them of their heritage, beat them to shit, and then look at them and say, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Nigga, you're the problem. Fucking tired of these damn niggas, man. I'm talking about the so-called white man. These blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, that's a product of the so-called white man. Got them speaking all these stupid-ass languages. But that's part of the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We should really be mad at the Lord. But if you have understanding, you understand you did it to yourself. And you got to pay for your sins. The Lord's righteous, so he ain't doing anything wrong. He told you in Deuteronomy 28. Let's go. Let's grab it. Am I done with this? No, I got two more verses. Baruch chapter 3, verse 9. Hear, Israel, the commandments of life, and give ear to understanding wisdom. How happeneth it, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxen old in a strange country, that thou art defiled with the dead, that thou art counted with them that go down into the grave. Yeah, you got to think about that, man. Why you in your enemy's land? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you think this is your land, and he took it away from you. This ain't your land, man. You came here too because you got kicked out of your land. Thought you come over here and set it up, set something else different from what the Lord wanted you to be. And what happened? The same thing happened. Your enemies came over here and whooped your ass. That's going to continue to happen unless we be changed. It's going to keep happening. You grab this in the book of Deuteronomy 30 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass when these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. So the blessing is our 40 years of peace. Actually, it was really 80 years. It wasn't really peace. We were going to war with King David. Okay? Then we had 40 years of peace with under King Solomon. But since that split, it's been pretty bad. Okay? We've been multiple times being taken down, being destroyed. Okay? So, we experienced the curse is what I'm trying to say here. We experienced the blessing is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me again. But now we're experiencing the curses for a long time, man. But in the sight of it all, when it's all said and done and we get back into the kingdom, it's like a short little blip. It's gonna be like a nightmare. Then we waking up in the kingdom doing what we gotta do, man. Getting this world in order. Because Esau, what you're starting to see is he can't do nothing right, man. He's just a little foolish boy. You should have saw the duck when he was holding the Nobel Peace Prize. You could see through the spirit, he's just a little boy, man. That's how all Edomites are. He's 70, 80 years old, man. He's smiling. I got a plaque. And then last night, he telling the nations, since you didn't give me the Nobel Peace Prize, I might as well go to war with you, man. You didn't give it to me, so now I'm gonna take you to war. All right, which matches up with Ecclesiastes 10 verse 16. Let me grab that. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 16. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and when thy prince is eat in the morning. So woe means death and destruction when your king is a child, and your king is Donald Duck. He the king of Babylon right now. Okay, and what is he bringing to you? Destruction. It tells you in the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 10th chapter, that an unwise judge destroyeth his people. Let's grab that. He's unwise. He don't rule under the law, the commandments of the Lord. So the same thing gonna happen to him. The same is what happened to us. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 verse 1, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. See, this government's not ordered. Okay, it's out of order. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. Babylon is known as a city. Because what makes up a city is citizens. So a city and the citizens, that's what this is talking about. Okay, the citizens make up Babylon. All right? And those people are wicked. Just like the person who's running the place. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 verse 3. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. So an unwise king destroyeth his people. He's unwise because he don't establish the law, statutes, and commandments. And that's why you got protesters, you got people fighting, and he likes it like that. He thinks out of that wickedness, he gonna reign supreme, and that's not how it works. We probably thought the same shit he thought. Now that I'm thinking about looking at it, he probably thought, because you got all the money, you got all the military, you want the people to go in a certain direction, you're causing the chaos, you got control over both sides of everything. So you think you're the most high. See, that's what pride gets you, man. Get you lifted up, and then the Lord destroys you when you're on high like that. So that's what an unwise judge would do. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 verse 4, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And the one that is profitable is Yahweh Shai, which is his only begotten son. He's going to establish the law, statutes, and commandments forever. And guess what? Everyone's going to be happy in that day. Yes, you got to go through slavery. But hey, it happened to us. And look at us. We're still here, right? So you're going to still be here. But Esau's not. Nah, Esau's not going to make it through that. Because he's like stubble. Okay? He's going to be destroyed. All right. What else would I want to go? Wanted to jump over here real quick in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. Going into these curses. You know, especially Carson Tucker, if you ever get to see one of these videos, you should read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, so you can know who the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are, of their biblical identity. And when you read that, you know, you think about through process of elimination, what nation of people went through all these curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and it's not your people. Okay? Who you think you are. I think you might be a Jacob, but you might not be too. But we'll know, because according to the parable of the sower, the tares and the wheat are going to grow together. So at this time, we're growing, okay? But then the Lord's going to, there's going to be a separation when the Lord returns, right? Some of us are going to be gathered into the barn, and some of y'all are going to be gathered to get burned up like the chaff. Deuteronomy 28:1, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And we were like that. We were on high above all nations of the earth in the old world, okay, under King Solomon. That's when we were on high. And that was for a short time. That was 40 years. That wasn't nothing. Okay? It's not. It was a taste of what it was like, what it's gonna be like. What even in Haggai said the latter house is gonna be better than the former. Okay? He's ultimately talking about the kingdom of heaven. That's gonna be better than any peace we had down here. Any form of sovereignty you thought you had down here. Okay. Deuteronomy 28:2, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shalt thou be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and thy increase, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. So you're gonna be doing good, man. Long story short. You know, your cattle, your sheep, you don't have any of those things. Why? Because you're in captivity. Now, some of y'all might have a couple of chickens in your backyard, maybe a goat. That's just nothing. Now, imagine hundreds of goats, hundreds of sheep, mad gold, mad land, like Abraham and Lot. They had abundance. Not like we have today. This is scarcity. You barely got a pot to piss in Babylon, but you love it here so damn much. Because you think you get so used to your captivity, especially one as long as this one, you think, you know, this is how life is supposed to be. It tells you in the book of Isaiah 5:8, you know, woe unto thee that live house to house. You ain't supposed to live here in your damn neighbor and all of that, man. There's plenty of land for people to prosper on, man. Everyone's supposed to have their own little plot of land that they cultivate, you know. The world's, we're supposed to be working. But the way this nigga Esau works, he's opposite of the Bible. So he creates a scarcity. He has abundance, everyone else has a scarcity. Okay? And that's what he does, man. But once he gets taken out of the way, hey, now we can flourish. You can't flourish with this devil in rulership. Deuteronomy 28:15, let me jump down. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Who you see cursed in the city, Mr. Tucker? Is your people, the so-called white man, cursed in the city? He getting shot by the police and shit like that. Is he overcrowding the projects? What about the jail system? Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of white people in the jail system, man. I think there's more white people than blacks. There's a lot of fucking white people in jail. A lot of evil fucking devils in there, man. Believe me. I've been there. I saw it with my own eyes. I couldn't believe how deep they were in there. They run the joint. Deuteronomy 28, verse 17, curse shall be thy basket in thy store. So the basket in thy store will go into your money situation. Who's at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to money? Who's being told to pick themselves up by their bootstraps? That's the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Out here protesting to keep their fucking job at Starbucks, man. Fuck Starbucks. Okay? You should be crying to the Lord. Deuteronomy 28, verse 18, curse shall be the fruit of thy body, which is your kids, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. We don't have any land, no sheep, nothing, none of that. Okay? So that's a curse. Deuteronomy 28, verse 19, curse shall thou be when thou comest in, and curse shall thou be when thou goest out. Yeah, you come into this world, you're cursed. Okay? All the way to the point when you die too. You're just gonna be in slavery the whole time. And then pretty much ain't nothing you could do about it. You could go suck a damn white man's dick if you wanna get up. That's how his shit works. You gotta go suck a rod to get to live like him and sit at his table. Get the fuck out of here. That's why you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans need to get put to death. Now you're getting used to it. You like it now. Now you're a damn full-blown homosexual to get up in this place. That's why your doctors are gay. Everyone's a damn faggot to get up in this kingdom, man. Because you ain't got no integrity. The Lord brought you down here to have integrity. To be a man, to keep the law, statutes, and commandments in a wicked-ass, perverse society. He don't give a fuck up how much hell he's putting on you, man. He about to put hell on all these motherfuckers, man. They about to die. All these damn heathen, man. But the main verse that really got me to believe that with Israel in Deuteronomy 28 is a couple. I mean, you could read the whole thing. It's a long chapter. But I'm not gonna go through all of it. I'm gonna jump down. Deuteronomy 28, verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And that's what we did. We lost our battles. You know, going all the way back to 70 AD, going back to the wars that happened on this American land. We lost those wars because we transgressed these laws. Now, if Israel did what they said, talking about the northern kingdom in 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, go to a far land so they can keep the commandments that they didn't keep in their own land, they would have prospered, but they didn't do that when they came over here. You look at the secular history of them, they were building up temples here. They were doing human sacrificing. They were doing all types of abominations. So the Lord sent the sword. He sent the so-called white man here to whip his ass. And that's what they get. I ain't mad at nothing the Lord did anymore. Transatlantic slave trade, that's what we get. We're reading Deuteronomy 28. So I ain't mad at the so-called white man. You need to be mad at the Lord. He deserves, if you're gonna be mad at, that's his sword. But then when you have wisdom, you know, that anger should bring you to the Lord. But at the same time, if he gives you the wisdom, you understand you did it to yourself. I told you. Read Deuteronomy 28. Go look at the breakdown online. That's probably the information you're going to give you, man. You're going to stumble across Deuteronomy 28. So anybody who don't know where Israel is, man, just read Deuteronomy 28. But you can't just read it like a damn heathen, man. You need understanding. You need a teacher to teach you. Okay? I'm going to go through a couple of the verses But that's what happened. We were smitten of our enemies. Smite means to be destroyed. Deuteronomy 28, verse 28, the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. That's right. Madness, astonishment of heart. You see that when you talk to a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. You see them, you know, they're out of their damn minds. They're smoked with madness. They don't think upon how the hell they got here. They think everything's normal. They're out of their damn minds, man. You're speaking a whole language that ain't even yours. They act like they don't have an oppressor. That's how they're out of their damn minds. Then you see them dancing in the street. It's foolishness. They're poor, they don't understand why. The government ain't helping them, they don't get it. They're on drugs, and that's it. They're destroyed. And then Esau can walk by and point at you. Look at him, man. Go get a job. Okay? He created that mess. He created poverty. He creates all this shit, man. It's all systematic. Deuteronomy 28, verse 29, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. That's right, so you're only gonna be oppressed. This is oppression that you should, tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes that surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. You should be pissed the fuck off with this damn devil. But no, you wanna hold hands with him. You wanna go march in the streets and try to talk about the government when Satan is against Satan. You want to get in between that and pick a side and shit. Out of your damn mind. Let these niggas die, man. Let them get burnt up. Let them kill each other. That's what they're going to do anyways. The Lord told you that in Isaiah the 19th chapter. But you groping in noonday, meaning you're blind, man. You groping for something. You're trying to hold on for stability somewhere. You're trying to grab a wall. You can't see. You're blind. You grow in darkness. You ain't got the light. The Lord's not dealing with you. Let me grab this in the book of Ecclesiastes. Chapter 7, I think. Yep, Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So, yeah, surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. This experience that you're having in America should make you seek the Lord. Okay? And you should have some form of hatred for this nigga, Esau. Because that's your enemy. And he's in power. He got power over you, man. And the only way you can win and get the victory is if the Lord gives you that victory and makes your enemies your footstool. And that's why I'm praying to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, so I can get that power, so I can bust a damn heathen upside his head, a damn Edomite, and get away with it, and not have to go to jail for it, and say who wants it. Don't let me get the power. And that's real power. That's what our forefathers had. That's what Samson had. That's what Elijah had. That's what Yahushai had. That's what all of our forefathers had. Elisha. Okay, we had real power. Esau never experienced no power like that. All his power is on the left-hand side. He's a damn heathen. And he said a gift destroyeth the heart. So he gives you a gift to destroy you so you can pervert justice and judgment. You won't come out here and teach the word. You know? You'll be out here talking about Amalek is the children of Israel. Okay? That's what he's gonna do. There's gonna be more checks coming out for you damn so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans so you can shut your mouth up, because this word's just on fire. It's waking people up. He wants it to stop. Okay? And that's why he's gonna really be sending an insurrection act to get the so-called the prophets off the scene, man. because more people are gonna start listening to the. You got Christians, they stepping their game up now, which is good. Even though they're using it to scoff like demons, you can't do nothing against this truth, man. You can fight all the way up to the point your ass get nuked. So keep fighting. But at least they're fighting for something. I give them that, man. At least they're getting into the Bible. Well, a lot of you saw. I just watched the brother did a video about some so-called black man talking about praying to ghosts and all that. Get the fuck out of here. So he gonna die. He gonna die. He ain't got no hope. Unless he repent, he's still Israel. But unless he repent. But it's hard for an Israelite to repent at this time. It tells you that in Zechariah 13:8, 2/3 shall be cut off and die. So that's the majority of Israel is gonna die. All right, let me jump down. Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. So, that's going into the elders tell you that going back to King Marshall, they're saying that's King David. Okay. I mean, I never heard anybody in the Christian Catholic Church break down Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. Okay. And not only that, being a proverb and a byword and an astonishment. Okay, a byword is like you being called a proverb, and a proverb's like if you want to hide something, put it in a book. That's talking about niggas. Okay, or in a byword, it's calling them a nigga. But and an astonishment is something that's like, why are you like that? You look at somebody like, why are you in the state that you're in? There's a whole history behind why somebody would be acting like that. That people they ignore all of that and just see the present of how you get to this point. This nigga then did all types of put you in the projects, kick the father out the house, just continual oppression. That's what it is. Okay, and he created, and he got a whole nation calling themselves black, and he got the whole world calling them black too. So this nigga gotta die. He gotta die for that. He gotta get his ass whooped for that. Okay, he got a lot to pay for it, and I hope the Lord allow me to see it, man, because I understand what this nigga did to the nation of Israel, to God's chosen people. And that's how they're hidden in the midst of everybody. They're in front of everyone's face. They call them the lost tribes of Israel, but they right in your damn face. Right in your damn face, man. Deuteronomy 28 in verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. That's right. You be having kids and bringing them into this world, man. You see your life and you think your kid gonna have a better life than you. They're not. They're gonna go to school like you did. They're gonna pay way more than you did. Okay? And the inflation is higher than when you went to school. It's just worse. It's gonna be a lot worse for them. You brought them into hell, man. Congratulations. Job said, man, he wish he died in the womb. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him, man. But he also talks about being changed too. Job knew about the new body, man. Okay, I can't think of that precept. But he talks about being changed. You gotta be changed. Deuteronomy 28, verse 42, all thy trees in fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And that's where we're at right now. The strangers of these heathen. They get up very high, and we're very low. You look at these heathen, these niggas eat mice and dogs and cats, and they come over here, they're doctors. They're fucking They own businesses. It's not that hard to sign a piece of paper. Someone give you some money, you open up a damn business, and you buy stuff and trade. You can look at Wall Street, for example. We do it on a much higher level than you heathen do it. And your stores stink anyways, man. Nobody want to go buy from you. That's because we're going through the curses in Deuteronomy. We try to get something. Try to go get a loan from Esau, man. He was like, you were denied. Yeah, we don't want to give you any money. You want to set up a convenience store here? Nah, you don't have what it takes. But he'll give it to Elam with no real hassle. You know, he'll set them up lovely. Just like he did those Ukrainians. He brought them over here. He hooked them up. Here, take this here. You need some housing? Here, there you go. It's not that hard to help out the people. It really isn't. It's because you're going through the curses. He's the one that the Lord's using to keep those curses on you. Keep you in that low state so the rest of the heathen can prosper, because this is their time. This is their time to prosper. So let them have fun. Let them enjoy it. And we're going to enjoy going through this hell until the Lord exalt us. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 44, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Is the so-called Jewish man doing that? Is he being lent to, or is he doing the lending? So he don't fit that curse. Okay, so that's not a curse that would fit him and his whole nation. Okay, but it would fit you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Look at all the debt you're in if you don't understand what I'm saying. Look how much money you owe. Find out who you owe that money to. See if he wears a little hat on his head or not. That's what you should do. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and thou shalt... It's lucky. Let me read that again. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. So these curses will pursue you, meaning no matter where you are, these curses are going to pursue you, man. No matter what government you under, you're being oppressed by those by those people. And even if you're under your own people, which you're probably not, but if you are, you're still going to have these curses on you. That's why you still hate your government. Even though you might be from a poorer land, you're still doing better than over here. They might have a little more, a little more of the law being implemented. Like when I was reading about, I was watching something about Maduro. Maduro didn't charge usury on his people. Shit, people wish that was like that over here in America, but it's not the case. Okay, Pinky and the Brains, Amalek and Esau, the so-called small hat white boy and the so-called regular white man. They're working together trying to take over the world. But the brains of the operation is Israel. Esau don't think like that. He's a fucking idiot. He drive around in trucks like a dumbass, spending mad money on gas. He's an idiot. And he don't even got any work in the back of his truck. He got a fucking dual wheel truck. And he ain't doing any work, just wasting gas. He's just a parasite. He's a damn parasite, man. He's a fool. But Amalek's the brains of the operations. He's the smart one. He's the smart guy. He ain't really that smart, because all of that's gonna lead to his kingdom being destroyed and going into slavery. You see how smart he is when his ass has to work. He's a fucking bastard. Tells you a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. He don't fit these curses because he's not real. He's not Israel. Deuteronomy 28 verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So exactly. So So right now we're experiencing the curses, like I said, Deuteronomy 30 and 1. And this should be a sign of who's Israel. So that's a key scripture that these curses should be a sign onto who the children of Israel are. And they all point to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And they point away from the so-called white man Esau and his grandson Amalek. He said it's Amalek. There's a Q in there when you look into it. I call him Amalek. Deuteronomy 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, and in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. When you look that up, yoke of iron, you're gonna see a so-called black man with a yoke on. Okay, and if you is a so-called white man serving his enemies right now? No, he's not. So this isn't a sign unto him. But the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, they are. Okay. Deuteronomy 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Yes, swift as the eagle flieth. That's the sign of Esau. Esau is the eagle. Okay? And we're serving under him. We're serving under the eagle. There's an eagle on your dollar. There's a pyramid on your dollar. Okay, you're in Egypt again. According to Revelation 11 and 8. Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Yeah, who's known to leave their kids? The so-called black man. He's known to leave the kids, leave the household. Why? Because of these curses. These curses, man. And Esau helped with that when he put in those stipulations in order to get government assistance. You couldn't have the father in the house. Why the hell do you think he did that? Because he's a damn demon. He's a devil. That's who the Lord is using. It's not only that either. The man. I'll keep reading. Deuteronomy 28 and 54. So the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. So you see them killing each other. Their eye is evil toward their brother. I was experiencing that today. People driving by, ice grilling me. That was literally their eyes being evil. But then it looked like two black dudes grilling me, and then it looked like a Spanish dude. He said hi. So, and it wasn't always like that. The Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, but now that's just the spirit right there. Now the Spanish dude saying hi, and the so-called black man, he got a problem. But it's all good. It's all good, man. I don't take any shame about that, man. But it just goes to show you that the Lord is closing up those breaches. So more people are starting to understand what's going on up here. And it ain't all vanity anymore. Now people want to beat their horn. Now people want to say Shalom. People want to say, that's Israel waking up. Sometimes somebody, yo, I heard we're Israel, is this true? They need to be fed with that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's important to know that you're Israel. That's important that the Lord hasn't forsaken his people. You would think that he forsaken the so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American man, but it's all prophecy being fulfilled. That ain't the case. No, we're gonna get the victory. We're gonna get Esau and put his ass into slavery. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 54, and toward the wife of his bosom. So your wife too, your eyes shall be evil toward your wife. So that's another thing, man. The so-called black woman, man. We're enemies with them. That's our enemy now. That's Eve. That's Eve and Adam, man. Fighting. Because of the curses. She want to be with the so-called white man. Oh, I want government assistance. I want to go live in a fucking hut. Get eggs and milk. Nigga got your girl kicking you out the house for eggs and milk, man. That's just evil. And to the remnant of his children which he shall leave. So there you go. Who does that fit? I was watching the video. Amalek, he does. Some dude was going through one of those Jewish communities asking how much do you get in government assistance. They get a lot of government assistance. And he was asking them, what jobs do you do? Them niggas don't work, man. Oh yeah, I do construction. Yeah, what do you do? Just construction. Nigga ain't never lifted a brick in his life, man. Talking about he do construction. You know? They got mad kids. And they're with them. Deuteronomy 28, verse 58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord Yahweh, all caps, thy God. Okay, that's talking about Yahweh. Okay, and we do so through his son Yahweh Shai. That's why we say Bahashem in the name of Yahweh Shai, because he's the sacrifice, okay, that we're coming to the Lord through. That's where our sins are being covered through. And he needs to be worshipped. And he's worthy of worship. Okay, you gotta acknowledge his son. Which y'all don't. Y'all don't acknowledge his son. Okay, the nation of Israel do. The repentive Israelites are. The ones who ain't repenters and rebellious, you're starting to see who they worship, so-called white men. Because they're rebellious just like him. He's a rebellious son. Well, he's really a bastard. He ain't no son. Deuteronomy 28, verse 62. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. So you're going to be left few in number. Okay? And that's how he did it. He scattered us in the midst of all these different nations, whereas the sand of the sea was scattered. We're scattered within different nations too, so you don't even, there's some small hats that are Israelites. Every nation, there's Israel in there. Okay. Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So we were scattered among all nations, and we serving other gods. That's why you serving wood and stone. You serving Islam and Christianity. Those are the two biggest stumbling blocks for the nation of Israel. Okay? They can't get into this word for some reason. It's really because the Lord just rejected their ass, and they can't come to the knowledge of who they are, and they continue to follow these other gods, which is a curse from the Lord. Deuteronomy 28, verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. Yeah, you don't have no rest here, man. You always got to work. You always got to keep grinding here. This is slavery. This is captivity. And you got a trembling heart. You always worried about a bill. You always worried about your body, you know, because this nigga's putting shit in your food, setting up your communities to have poor food quality, poor food decisions, and he makes it convenient for you to pretty much kill yourself. And then You wonder why you feel the way you feel, then you go to the doctor and I got to do this, that, and third. So you always know this shit ain't right, and you transgressing the law too. So that's like a multiplier of why the things you're going through. Deuteronomy 28, verse 66, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. Yeah, I know y'all feel that now, especially with ICE agents. You know, you're seeing white people supposedly get shot, so what does that mean for you? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, if they're willing to kill white bitches. The white bitch got shot, you know, that's hell for everybody else. If Esau's willing to kill his own people. Typically, you don't really see things like that, man. You know? That shit normally happens to so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But when you read further down on Deuteronomy 30, you get to verse 7, it tells you that these curses shall fall upon our enemies. And that's what you're starting to see. Okay? You're starting to see that. Deuteronomy 28, verse 67. In the morning thou shalt say, will God, it were even, and at even thou shalt say, will God, it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. Yeah, so you wake up in the morning and you wish it was the end of the day, pretty much. You know, you wanna get through the day. And then the same thing at night, because you gotta get back up in the morning, do the same shit all over again. Okay, that's part of the curses. It says, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. Pretty much, man, we don't have no rest here. This place is intended to be like that, though. For you to have hell and Esau to have rest. This is his rest in a whole wicked ass society. He can rest with kids being kidnapped, wars popping all the time. That's where he gets his rest. He tells you he can't sleep unless he calls someone to fall. Let me grab that as a matter of fact. Where's that at? The wicked can't sleep unless they cause some to fall, KJV. Can't grab it. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. It's telling me to do some stupid shit on my phone. I don't know when it started doing that. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way thereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So who went into slavery on ships? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay? In Egypt again. Okay, that's most important. It says Egypt again. Okay, we were in Egypt. So the whole family of Egypt, so-called Negroes, Latinos, all of us, we were in Egypt serving slavery. And now we're in Egypt again, serving slavery again, under a different oppressor, by the way of ships. That happened to us. These other nations weren't slaves in Egypt. He said, I'm sending you to Egypt again. So that's what separates us. Well, the Irish went to slavery, and this five people from Rome went to slavery. That's Esau trying to mix up the scriptures, man, so you don't know who you are. That's just in his spirit to be like that. Okay? And it said, you shall be sold unto your enemies. So your enemies are the Edomites. That's who you were sold to. And it's not just them. You got to read Psalms, the 83rd chapter. We were sold to Ishmael. We were sold to Moab. And who else knows? Probably all these nations. All these world powers. And it says, in no man ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. So slaves. Slaves. And you're still here. You're still a slave. Don't ever forget that. And the Lord is going to make you a slave owner. Okay? We got to suffer it, man. Our servants are ruling over us. That's something you should think about. Lord put servants over you. Okay? How mad did he have to be for him to put you in that predicament? And it said, no man shall buy you, meaning no man shall redeem you. It tells you in Isaiah 47 that I shall not meet thee as a man. That's talking about Yahweh Shai. He's the one who's going to gather his elect from the four corners of the earth. He's going to redeem us. All right? And that's the only way it's going to happen. But let me end it on this. Jeremiah 30, verse 16. It says, therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. And I'm going to end it there. Lord's will, this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rechak Wadash. Shalom, Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharah.